Hey there, it's so good to have you here today. Whether you're in a relationship, dating someone new, or just curious about how to build a deeper, more exciting connection with a man in your life, this is a safe space. A place where we talk about the real stuff, the honest, sometimes unspoken truths that can take intimacy from just good to mind-blowingly powerful. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to physical connection, there's a lot men won't say out loud. Not because they don't trust you, but because they're afraid of being misunderstood. They're scared that if they open up about certain desires, you might look at them differently, or worse, judge them. And that fear, it keeps them silent. But what if I told you that some of the things he's too shy to ask for aren't weird or outrageous at all? They're actually beautifully human, sometimes tender, sometimes playful, and often incredibly emotional. Things that don't just turn him on, but make him feel more seen, more connected, and more alive with you. So today we're diving into it. 5 kinky things men often want in bed, but almost never say out loud. These aren't just bedroom tips. They're windows into his inner world. And when you stop to understand what really excites a man on that deeper level, you stop guessing, you start connecting, and your intimacy becomes something that's not just passionate, but unforgettable. So let's get into it. Even the most confident, self-assured, dominant man, the one who takes charge at work, who makes big decisions, who walks through life like he owns every room, has moments where he secretly craves the opposite in bed. And he may never say it. He may never look you in the eyes and admit, I want you to take over tonight. But trust me, it's there. This isn't about him being weak or wanting to give up his masculinity. Quite the opposite. It's about trust. It's about safety. It's about the incredible emotional high that comes from letting go and letting you lead. Because for many men, the act of surrendering in a sexual moment is one of the most vulnerable, intimate experiences they can have. And most of them don't feel like they're allowed to ask for it. Society tells them they're supposed to be the aggressor, the initiator, the one always in control. But the fantasy of being touched, moved, kissed, or even commanded by a woman who knows exactly what she wants, that's something a lot of men fantasize about, but rarely experience. So what does this look like in real life? It's not necessarily about leather or chains or becoming a full-blown dominatrix, unless you're both into that. Most of the time, it's the subtle moments. When you gently push him down onto the bed, climb on top of him and take your time. When you hold his wrists above his head and say, stay still. When you run your hand down his chest, kiss his neck slowly and whisper, tonight I'm in charge. That kind of confidence, calm, sensual, direct, is magnetic. And the beauty is, you don't have to be aggressive to be dominant. You can be soft and slow and still be completely in control. It's about the intention behind your touch, the certainty in your voice, the energy you carry in the room. And most importantly, it's about the way you take him out of his head and into his body. When a man is with a woman who's not afraid to guide him, to explore him, to own the moment, he experiences something more than arousal. He experiences freedom, the freedom to feel, to melt, to drop the armor he wears all day long. And the most amazing part, when you take control like that, you also send a powerful message. I trust you enough to let go, and now I want you to trust me enough to do the same. That level of emotional exchange deepens everything. It builds desire, yes, but also respect, because now you're not just lovers, you're co-creators in something electric. So if you've ever felt the pull to take charge, to guide him, to flip the script and lead, don't be shy. Lean into it. You might just awaken a side of him he's been waiting his whole life to show, and only to someone who makes him feel safe enough to let it happen. Let's talk about something most people underestimate in the bedroom: words. You see, we often assume that men are purely physical, that what turns them on is what they see and what they feel. But here's a secret that might surprise you. For many men, what you say in the heat of the moment, is just as powerful, if not more, than what you do. They may never tell you this outright, but they love it when you tease them verbally. Not just dirty talk in the way it's often portrayed, over the top, raunchy, or scripted. What really turns them on is the energy behind the words. The playfulness, the confidence, the flirtatious unpredictability that makes them feel like they're locked in a private game with you. And they're completely losing. When a woman knows how to speak to a man in that moment, not just moan or compliment, but actually tease him, it flips a switch in his brain. He stops being the one always in control. He becomes captivated. Because now you're not just responding to what he's doing, you're leading the dance with your words. A whisper like, "Is that all you've got? Or you've been thinking about this all day, haven't you?" creates a story in his mind. And the male brain is hardwired for stimulation through imagination. You're not just arousing him physically, you're painting mental pictures that keep playing in his head long after the moment is over. That's power. The most magnetic kind of verbal teasing doesn't have to be vulgar. In fact, the sexiest things are often the ones that leave just a little room for mystery. It's the half-said thoughts, the slow delivery, the way you drop your tone to a whisper just as you're about to say something cheeky. It's confidence in your voice, control in your timing. Even a playful, "I bet you love it when I do this," makes him feel like he's in the hands of a woman who knows her effect on him and isn't afraid to use it. That's intoxicating, because when you speak with intention, you show him that you're not just in the moment physically, you're mentally present. And that presence is what transforms basic sex into unforgettable connection. And here's the part no one talks about. Verbal teasing builds anticipation. It stretches out the moment. It's foreplay that doesn't require a single touch. The moment you let your voice drop and say, "I'm not done with you yet," he's already hooked. You've bypassed the routine. You've created a spark that makes him feel wanted, challenged, even slightly thrown off in the best way. Because now he's not just lying there enjoying the moment. He's obsessed with what you'll say or do next. And that obsession, that's what keeps his desire for you burning long after the lights go out. So don't be afraid to use your voice. Speak in a way that's playful, powerful, even a little wicked. Because when you unlock that side of yourself, you give him permission to do the same. And that's when things really heat up. Most men won't admit this out loud, not because it's too outrageous, but because it makes them feel exposed in a way they're not used to. See, men are usually the ones doing the watching. They're conditioned to be the visual creatures, to take in and be aroused by what they see. But deep down is a side of many men that secretly loves the idea of being watched. Not by anyone random, but by the woman they desire most. You. And not in some staged, artificial way, but in a way that makes him feel raw, admired, and completely devoured by your eyes. It's not about putting on a show, it's about feeling like he is the show. That he is so irresistible to you, so sexy in your eyes that you can't stop watching. There's something incredibly validating for a man when a woman stares at him during sex like she wants to memorize every move he makes. It doesn't have to be some dramatic, exaggerated moment. It could be the way you lock eyes when he undresses, the way you lie back and just watch him take control. Or even more powerfully, when you take control and you keep your eyes on him while doing it, that intense eye contact, that intentional gaze says everything without a single word. It says, "I love watching you lose yourself." It says, "I love seeing what I do to you." And let me tell you, that drives him absolutely wild. Many men have a secret fantasy of their partner pleasuring herself just for them, not because it's something from a movie, but because it's the ultimate form of visual trust. When you let him watch you, when you stop hiding or feeling embarrassed and instead invite him into that experience, something changes. You're no longer just sharing physical space. You're showing him the most unfiltered, sensual side of yourself. And in doing that, you open the door for him to want to be seen in the same way. Because being watched in bed for a man isn't just arousing, it's affirming, it's deeply emotional. It tells him he's not just satisfying you, he's fascinating to you. You see, men get turned on when they feel they're desired. And desire isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the way you stare, the way you lean back and say, show me what you've got. Or even better, when you don't say anything at all and just look at him with that playful smirk like you already know what's coming. And that's a moment he'll replay in his head for days. Because in a world where men often feel pressure to perform, to impress, to deliver, there's something electric about knowing that you're enjoying the view, that he doesn't have to do anything extra. He just has to be himself. And that alone is enough to turn you on. So the next time you're together, try this. Slow down. Let there be moments where you just watch him. Let your eyes speak for you. Let your silence build tension. Because the truth is, sometimes it's not the moans or the movement that drive him crazy. It's the moment he realizes you're completely captivated by him. That's where the magic lives. That's what makes him crave you, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's the part he'll never forget. There is something no one tells you about men, no matter how strong, confident, or sexually experienced they are. They crave approval in the bedroom far more than they let on. Now, they may act like they've got it all under control, like they know exactly what they're doing. But underneath that bravado is a heart that wants to know, did I please you? Did you like that? Am I enough for you right now? It's a kind of emotional vulnerability that men rarely express with words. Instead, they search for clues in your body language, your reactions, and your sounds. But what they secretly long for is something so simple and so powerful. Praise, encouragement, words that affirm they're doing a good job. Not just physically, but emotionally. That's what I like to call the good boy effect. And yes, it sounds playful, even a little cheeky, but it goes way deeper than that. When you look at a man in the middle of that intimate moment and you say things like, yes, just like that, or God, you feel so good, you're not just giving him feedback, you're lighting him up from the inside. You're reassuring him that he's pleasing you, that you're not just present, you're enjoying every second of it. And that validation hits a part of him that's been trained to never ask for reassurance, but desperately craves it. It makes him want to keep going, keep giving, keep showing up for you with every ounce of desire he has. Because now he doesn't have to guess whether he's enough. You've told him. And when that comes from a woman he's deeply attracted to, it becomes the ultimate turn on. Now let's take it a step further. If you really want to blow his mind, praise him at the moment when he's most focused. Maybe when he's going down on you or when he's trying something new to please you. Don't wait until afterward. Whisper it during. Something as simple as, I love how much you want to make me feel good, makes him feel like he's the man, not because you're stroking his ego, but because you're seeing and appreciating the energy he's putting into your pleasure. That kind of recognition builds more than just sexual heat. It builds emotional intimacy. It tells him he's seen. And when a man feels seen in bed, he stops performing and starts connecting. Even little moments of playful reward, like running your fingers through his hair and saying, good boy, or biting your lip and saying, you're driving me crazy right now, can have a massive impact. It taps into that primal part of him that loves to feel like your hero, not in some over-the-top fantasy way, but in a very real, grounded, personal way. You're telling him he's not just doing it right, he's doing it perfectly for you. That's how you build confidence in your sex life. That's how you create a man who doesn't just want to please you, he becomes obsessed with it. So next time you're together, don't hold back. Speak up, praise him, tell him what he's doing right and how good he's making you feel. Because when a man gets that kind of energy from you, that mix of appreciation and desire, he becomes more confident, more open, and more deeply connected to you than ever before. Here's something surprising. A lot of men fantasize about surrendering control in the bedroom. Not because they're weak or passive, but because they're always in control everywhere else. In their jobs, their friendships, even in dating, men often carry the expectation to lead, to initiate, to be the one who always knows what to do. But in the intimacy of a trusted relationship, there's a deeper, unspoken desire to be able to let go. And one of the most powerful and often misunderstood ways to experience that is through light restraint. And I'm not talking about 50 Shades extremes here. I'm talking about the playful, consensual kind of restraint, where you take the lead in a way that's fun, flirty, and full of trust. The fantasy isn't really about being tied up. It's about the psychology of it. It's the idea that he doesn't have to do anything but respond, that for once someone else is holding the reins and letting him drop the weight of always having to be the one in control. And when you are the one who introduces this, maybe with a scarf, or your hands gently holding his wrist down, or even just a whispered, "Don't move," it tells him something powerful. It says, "I trust you enough to play here, and I want you to trust me too." That moment becomes less about dominance and more about mutual surrender. He's letting you guide the moment, and in doing that, he's opening up to a deeper level of intimacy. What makes this so electric isn't just the physical aspect, it's the emotional release that comes with it. In a world where masculinity is often tied to control and power, giving him permission to be vulnerable in this way becomes an act of deep love and connection. It tells him that with you, he's safe to explore, that he can step outside of that rigid masculine script and just feel. And believe me, when a man feels safe enough to let you take the lead, even if just for a moment, he doesn't feel emasculated. He feels liberated. He feels like he's experiencing a side of himself most people will never see, and he will associate that freedom with you. Of course, this kind of play depends on communication and trust. It's not about surprising him with something out of nowhere. It's about reading the moment, knowing when he's open, and exploring the idea gently. Maybe it starts with a light hold of his hands above his head, or straddling him and saying, "My turn." It's the little power shifts that create a spark. And often, that spark turns into something much more intense and passionate. Is now, it's not just about sex, it's about surrender. It's about saying, "I see you, I've got you, you're mine right now." And that, when it's coming from someone he trusts and desires, is intoxicating. So don't be afraid to lead sometimes. Don't be afraid to gently explore his boundaries and show him that letting go can be just as sexy as taking control. Because when you create that kind of space, playful, safe, and rooted in trust, he won't just crave the physical experience. He'll crave you, the one person who knows how to unlock the part of him that's hidden from the rest of the world. So here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. Behind the confident smirks, behind the bold flirting and bedroom moves, most men carry a secret list of desires they're too afraid to say out loud. Not because they're weird or extreme, but because they require something deeper than just physical chemistry. They require emotional safety. They require trust. And more than anything, they require a woman who's willing to look at him and say, "You don't have to hide that part of yourself with me." When you create that kind of space where play, praise, surrender, and sensual curiosity are not only welcome but celebrated, you become unforgettable. Not because you did something wild in bed, but because you saw him. You gave him permission to explore the sides of himself he's kept tucked away. And that's what makes the connection between you two magnetic. It stops being just sex and starts becoming something he feels, not just in his body, but in his heart. So my challenge to you is this: be the safe space for him to reveal what he doesn't even know how to ask for. Start small, play with eye contact, compliment him in moments where he's trying to please you. Invite him into the pleasure of watching and being watched. Maybe even tease him with a little power play, just enough to open the door. Don't overthink it. You don't have to get everything right. You just have to show him you're open, playful, and paying attention. Because when you do that, when you meet his secret desires, not with judgment, but with joy, something shifts. He begins to crave more than just your touch. He starts to crave your energy, your confidence, your ability to see through him in the most intimate, exhilarating way. That's what keeps a man coming back. That's what makes him fall. If you enjoyed this and want more insights like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me which of these spoke to you the most, or which one surprised you. And remember, the sexiest thing you can bring to the bedroom isn't lingerie or technique, it's presence. That's the real magic. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be bold, be playful, and most of all, be you.